The Psychology of Money. Chapter 11. Reasonable is better than rational. We all want to be rational with money, but Morgan Housel argues that being reasonable is often better. Here's the difference. Rational means making decisions based strictly on logic, math, and statistics. Reasonable means making decisions that also account for how you feel, what motivates you, and what helps you sleep at night. For example, paying off a mortgage early may not be the most mathematically optimal move. You might earn more by investing. But if paying it off gives you peace of mind, reduces anxiety, and adds emotional security, that's not irrational. It's reasonable. This idea is important because money is emotional. We're not robots. We have goals, fears, and different levels of comfort with risk. Trying to be perfectly rational can backfire if it leads to stress, burnout, or second-guessing. On the other hand, being reasonable creates consistency, and in personal finance, consistency over time beats brilliance in bursts. So don't chase perfection. Aim for behavior that works for you, that you can stick with for years, even decades. Because the best financial plan isn't the one that looks best on paper. It's the one you'll actually follow. Chapter 12. Surprise. The biggest financial events, the ones that change everything, are almost always surprises. Think about 9/11, the 2008 financial crisis, COVID-19, or the dot-com bubble. None of these events were widely predicted. And yet, they reshaped markets, careers, and lives. Morgan Housel reminds us that the most important economic developments are often things we don't see coming. Which means our models, our predictions, and even our history books are often blind to what matters most. History feels like a clear story in hindsight, but in the moment, it's messy, confusing, and full of uncertainty. This matters because many people make decisions based on historical averages or past events. But if the future is shaped by surprises, we need to build systems that are resilient, not just optimized. Instead of trying to predict what will happen, assume that unexpected things will happen, and prepare for them. That means having a cash buffer, avoiding too much debt, and staying flexible. In short, expect surprise. Prepare for volatility. And build your financial life for durability, not perfection. Chapter 13. Room for error. You don't need to be a pessimist to leave room for error. You just need to be realistic. Morgan Housel says that a margin of safety is one of the most underappreciated financial tools. It's what allows you to survive when things go wrong, which they inevitably will. A margin of safety means saving more than you think you need. It means investing with the expectation that returns might be lower than average. It means not counting on the best-case scenario to work out. Think about airplane design. Engineers don't build planes that can just barely fly. They build in redundancy, safety buffers, and backup systems. Why? Because human lives are at stake, and because things go wrong. Your financial life deserves the same protection. Leaving room for error gives you staying power. It keeps you from having to sell during a crash or borrow during a crisis. It buys you time, space, and options, which are incredibly valuable when things don't go according to plan. The goal isn't to predict the future perfectly. It's to make sure you can survive even when you're wrong. Because the person who can stick around, through the ups and downs, is the person who ultimately wins. Chapter 14. You'll change. One of the biggest financial challenges is that your goals, values, and desires will change over time, often in ways you can't anticipate. What seems important to you at May 25th feel irrelevant at 35. The career, car, or house you dream about now might not align with your future self. This is what psychologists call the end of history illusion, the belief that while we've changed a lot in the past, we won't change much in the future. But in reality, we keep evolving. Housel warns against making rigid long-term plans based on who you are today. Because chances are, the person you become will want different things. This matters when it comes to big financial commitments, taking on massive debt, tying your identity to a career path, or building a lifestyle that's hard to unwind. Instead, embrace flexibility. Build your financial plan to accommodate change, not resist it. Save more than you need. Avoid tying your happiness to specific purchases. Keep your identity loose enough to pivot. In short, accept that change is inevitable, and make room for your future self to live without being handcuffed by your past decisions. Because you might not want what you want today, 10 years from now. Chapter 15, Nothing's Free. Everything has a price, even if you don't see it. Morgan Housel explains that in money, as in life, the price of success is often paid in discomfort, uncertainty, or patience, not dollars. Take investing. The price of strong long-term returns is short-term volatility. The ups and downs, the anxiety, the media panic, that's the fee you pay for being in the game. But here's the problem. Because that fee isn't always labeled, we tend to treat it like a fine, something we should avoid. A fine feels like punishment. A fee is the cost of entry. If you think of market downturns or temporary losses as fines, you'll try to avoid them at all costs, even by selling at the wrong time. But if you see them as fees, you'll be more willing to endure them, because you understand they're part of the deal. Nothing worthwhile is free. Not financial success. Not career growth. Not peace of mind. Every goal has its cost, whether it's time, effort, stress, or uncertainty. The trick is to identify the real price, and decide whether you're willing to pay it. Most people want the rewards without the sacrifice. But those who understand the cost, and pay it anyway, are the ones who succeed. Let's take a moment to recap the 5 key lessons from chapters 11 to 15 of The Psychology of Money. Chapter 11. Don't aim to be perfectly rational. Be consistently reasonable. That's more sustainable. Chapter 12. The biggest changes are often surprises. Plan for uncertainty. Chapter 13. Leave a margin of safety. Room for error is a survival tool. Chapter 14. You will change. Your values, your goals. Make flexibility part of your plan. Chapter 15. Everything has a price. Know what it is, and be willing to pay it. If this summary gave you something to think about, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment sharing your biggest takeaway. And don't stop here. In the next video, we'll explore chapters 16 to 20, where we'll talk about wealth envy, long-term investing, personal narratives, and how to truly define enough. These next chapters are powerful, and they'll challenge how you think about success. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.